Okay, let's be real for a second. Who hasn't looked at a tough problem or just, a huge chunk of text and thought, okay, ChatGPT, working magic.
Right. It's so fast, so tempting.
Totally. But then you get that nagging feeling like, am I really learning this? Or am I just, I don't know, letting the AI do the thinking, outsourcing my brain?
That's the big question, isn't it? It's something so many of us are dealing with. Whether you're a student, an educator, just anyone trying to learn stuff, these tools are amazing, no doubt.
Yeah.
But there's this valid worry about cognitive offloading, basically skipping the mental effort.
The effort that actually makes things stick.
Exactly. The very thing that leads to real understanding, long-term memory.
That's the fear, taking the easy route. But maybe the challenge isn't just avoiding it. Maybe it's about, redesigning how we use AI so it actually boosts the thinking.
Precisely. So the big question for this deep dive, how can we, especially educators, but really all learners, use tools like ChatGPT not just for those quick answers, but to push for deeper thinking, for critical analysis, for actually remembering things?
How do we learn with AI, not just passively from it?
And that's exactly what we're digging into today.
Yeah.
We're looking at some really fascinating ideas from an article by Mark Rollins. He's an experienced e-learning developer and an instructional designer.
Okay.
And he gives some super practical research-backed activities, things you can actually do.
So our mission today, unpack 6 of these conceptual activities, examples of how to use AI to power up memory, reflection, thinking about your thinking, synthesis, critical thought.
Right. This isn't about AI as a shortcut. It's about making it a smart learning partner.
Keeping you in charge of your own learning. Let's jump in.
Okay, so first up, if we're talking memory, Rollins suggests this thing called retrieval practice quiz with ChatGPT.
Retrieval practice. Right. Using AI to make a quiz. Sounds simple, maybe. But what's the secret sauce here? How is this more than just a quick knowledge check?
Well, think about it. How often do you read something, feel like, yeah, I got this, but then an hour later, poof, it's gone.
Happens all the time.
That's where active recall kicks in. It's like doing reps for your brain. And the research is pretty clear. There are studies showing students who actually tried to answer questions from memory before using an AI tutor. They remembered way more.
Really? More than the ones who just use the AI right away?
Significantly more, yeah. And they were more engaged, too, the ones who leaned on the AI immediately. Core memory. It really highlights that AI should be a support, not, a replacement for your own brain trying first.
So it's that struggle, the trying to remember, even if you get it wrong, that's the key bit.
Exactly. That effort strengthens the pathways in your brain. Then ChatGPT comes in to confirm what you got right or fill in the blanks, but only after you've done the mental work.
Okay, that makes sense. It's support, not replacement.
Right. So to actually do this, you'd teach students good prompts. Something like create 5 review questions about the water cycle. Maybe ask for different question types.
Not just multiple choice.
Right. And the absolute key rule, write or say your answer first, then check. You could even ask ChatGPT to sort of hide the answers initially.
And then the checking part isn't just seeing if you're right or wrong.
No. That's where it gets good. You can ask ChatGPT why an answer was wrong or ask for more detail on a right one. Turns checking into another learning moment.
And you could use this for loads of things, right? Language, vocab, math formulas, history dates?
Anything where recall matters, yeah. Super versatile.
Okay, so that's locking in what you know. But what about understanding how you know it, like reflecting on the process?
Ah, yes. That leads nicely into Rollins' next idea, reflective ChatGPT journaling.
Reflective journaling. With AI, how does that work?
So after a lesson, or maybe finishing an assignment, you start a kind of dialogue with ChatGPT. You summarize what you learned, or maybe how you tackled a problem.
Yeah.
Then you ask ChatGPT to hit you with some reflective questions, like, what was the hardest part? Or, how does this connect to stuff you already knew? And then you actually journal your answers to those questions.
So the AI acts like a guide for your reflection.
Exactly. It taps into metacognition, thinking about your own thinking. And the research here is solid, too. When students actually articulate their learning process, where they got stuck, how their ideas changed, it deepens understanding, boosts memory, builds those independent learning skills.
And the AI helps because it asks questions you might not think to ask yourself.
Right. It provides those tailored prompts.
Yeah.
Acts like a non-judgmental listener almost. So everyone gets that guided reflection, even in a big class. But, and this is crucial, you have to do the reflecting, the writing.
Yeah, you can't just ask ChatGPT, hey, reflect for me on this lesson.
Definitely not. That would completely miss the point. You'd be offloading the metacognitive work itself.
And I guess it also helps you think about how the AI itself might have shaped your work, becoming aware of its influence.
That's a really neat aspect, yeah, building that awareness. So for implementation, you could give students some starter prompts or let ChatGPT generate them. Make sure they cover memory, analysis, self-evaluation.
Maybe suggest keeping a dedicated thinking journal.
Great idea. And educators can model this in class, show students how it works, emphasize that they're doing the real thinking.
You could even use the AI questions for quick pair shares. Get
Yeah.
students talking.
Yeah, normalize reflection. And remind them it's mostly for their own benefit, so honesty helps.
Okay, that makes sense. So from reflecting to teaching, what's next?
Yeah, exactly. The Teach ChatGPT exercise. This one flips the whole dynamic.
Teach ChatGPT. How does that work? You become the teacher.
You got it. You explain a concept to ChatGPT, but you've prompted it to act like a curious beginner, a novice learner.
Okay.
So as you explain, ChatGPT jumps in with questions. Can you give an example? Wait, why does that happen? Things like that. It pushes you to elaborate, clarify, really nail down your explanation.
Ah, the protege effect. I've heard of this. Teaching something is one of the best ways to learn it yourself.
Absolutely. There was this experiment, right? Students told they had to teach a simulated student. They understood the material way better, remembered more than students who just learned it for themselves.
It really forces you to organize your thoughts.
Totally. You have to synthesize the information, spot your own knowledge gaps, organize it logically. It leads to much deeper processing, longer-lasting memories.
And because ChatGPT is relying on you?
Right. It fosters this sense of responsibility. You have to get it right. You generate the content. You do the thinking. The AI just prods you deeper. No cognitive offloading possible, really.
So, setting this up, you'd prompt ChatGPT carefully, make sure it acts like a beginner, and doesn't just give answers.
Crucial. You need to set that role clearly. And it works for anything explaining a math solution, breaking down a literary theme, explaining grammar rules.
And you could even prompt it to ask questions if it's being too quiet, or ask it to quiz you afterwards.
Definitely encourage that interaction. And afterwards, that reflection piece again. What was easy to explain? What was tricky? That feedback loop is key.
And it's a safe space to practice, right? ChatGPT won't judge your shaky explanation.
Exactly. Builds confidence. Okay, ready for a more adversarial approach.
Adversarial. Intriguing. What's that?
It's the ChatGPT debate partner. Using AI to sharpen critical thinking.
Okay, a debate with AI.
Yeah. You take a stance on some kind of open-ended question, something debatable. Then you prompt ChatGPT to take the opposite side, or at least challenge your points.
So if I argue for something, ChatGPT argues against it.
Or it plays devil's advocate, raises counterpoints you need to address. It forces you to really formulate your arguments, find evidence, anticipate objections.
That sounds challenging. But I can see how it would build critical thinking.
For sure. And there's recent research backing this up too. Undergrads who debated with AI showed real improvement in understanding complex topics, their critical thinking, their argumentation skills.
Right.
Because the AI can bring up nuances or angles you hadn't considered. Pushes your analysis deeper.
And again, no offloading here. You have to do the arguing. The AI is just the opponent or the prompt.
Precisely. You're driving. It makes you really question information, not just passively accept it.
So implementation. Choose good topics, obviously. Not too simple, not too complex.
Right, level matched. And clear prompts for ChatGPT's role. Act as an opponent who disagrees with X. Teach students to ask for strong counterpoints. Maybe even ask the AI to rate their rebuttal.
Okay.
And here's a really important point, fact-checking. AI can sometimes hallucinate or state inaccuracies very confidently.
Right, I've seen that. It sounds plausible, but it's just wrong.
Exactly. So students must fact-check any claims the AI makes in the debate. That itself is a critical skill, verifying information, spotting potential misinformation.
Builds media literacy right into the activity. And after the debate,
Reflect. What arguments surprised you? Did your view change at all? The goal isn't just winning, it's deeper understanding.
understanding both sides. Makes sense. Okay, what's next?
Another one that really flips the dynamic. Critique and improve ChatGPT's answer.
Okay, critique the AI. So instead of asking it for an answer, you get an answer it produced and find fault with it.
You got it. You turn into the analyst, the editor. We all know AI answers aren't always perfect, right? Sometimes they're vague or miss key points or even get facts wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So Rollins suggests intentionally giving students an AI response that has flaws. Maybe it's incomplete or a bit superficial or contains a subtle error. and their job is to critically evaluate it
Why work with a flawed answer? Why not just get a good one?
because it forces scrutiny. Research shows students often just accept AI output uncritically. This activity directly fights that. It teaches them to learn critically, not passively.
Finding the flaws deepens your own understanding.
Exactly. You have to know the subject well enough to spot the inaccuracy or the weak argument. It's like explaining what's wrong or what's missing.
And I bet it pushes you to check sources too, to confirm if the AI's claim is right or wrong.
Absolutely. Builds research skills. You have to go back to reliable sources.
Yeah.
So to do this, you'd maybe generate an AI answer yourself, tweak it slightly so it's plausible but flawed.
Not complete nonsense, but not perfect.
Right. Then give students maybe a checklist or guiding questions. Fact check this. Is the reasoning sound? Is it deep enough? Does it consider different perspectives?
Could they, annotate it, mark it up?
Yeah, perfect. Use annotation tools or print it out and use a red pen. Then maybe an iterative process. Identify issues first, then go find resources to fix or improve it.
And discussing it in groups would be good too, right?
Yeah.
Different people spot different things.
Definitely. You could even compile the class's improved answers. Reinforces that AI's first draft is just that, a draft. It develops that crucial critical stance towards any AI text. Always verify.
Okay, always verify. That's a key takeaway. We have one more activity.
One more, yeah. Guided problem solving with process logs. This one focuses on transparency and, again, metacognition.
Process logs.
Yeah.
Okay, what does that entail?
So, you use ChatGPT as a partner while solving a problem, maybe something complex. And here's the rule. You have to keep a detailed log of your entire process.
Log everything. Like what?
Your own thoughts, your attempts before asking AI, what prompt you gave ChatGPT, why you asked it that specific question, what response you got.
Wow.
And crucially, how you use that response. Did you accept it, modify it, reject it, and why? Step by step. Your final work includes the solution and this log.
That sounds like a lot of work, but I see the point. It makes your thinking visible.
Exactly. It forces you to articulate your process, justify why you're using the AI. It stops it from being just a magic black box you throw the problem into.
It prevents just copying the answer.
Totally. It turns ChatGPT into a true thinking partner, not a shortcut. Logging your choices, especially when you reject AI help or adapt it, is powerful metacognition practice. Thinking about your thinking in real time.
And it keeps your own skills sharp, right? Because you're blending your effort with the AI's input.
Yes. It helps prevent skill atrophy. The AI amplifies your effort, it doesn't replace it. Plus, let's be honest, the log itself deters cheating. Pure offloading would be really obvious.
Yeah, the log would be pretty empty or nonsensical.
And this actually mirrors how professionals often use AI, strategically, thoughtfully documenting steps. Future-ready skills.
So, implementation. Provide a template for the log. Columns for my thought, prompt, AI response, how I used it.
Perfect. And clearly define what kind of AI help is okay for that specific task. Set boundaries. Maybe do a quick practice run in class so students see how to keep the log.
And feedback should be on the process log too, not just the final answer.
Absolutely. Praise good strategies. Point out where maybe they could have tried more themselves first. Encourage them to summarize AI outputs in their own words, and the log proves they processed it.
Could even have a final reflection question in the log, like how helpful was the AI really? What did I learn by doing X part myself?
Great idea. Makes the reflection explicit.
Okay, so 6 really interesting ways to use AI for deeper learning, not just quick answers.
Yeah, retrieval practice, reflection, teaching the AI, debating it, critiquing it, logging your process.
They all fundamentally show how you can weave AI like ChatGPT into learning, but keep the learner doing the hard cognitive work, achieving, like you said, productivity with depth.
Not productivity without depth. That's the crucial distinction.
So the big picture here, the why, it's about developing thinking skills, right? Not just getting answers.
Exactly. Education's goal is building that capacity to think, analyze, create. As educators, or even just as learners, we need to be deliberately intervene, as Rollins puts it, in how we use these powerful tools.
Guiding ourselves or our students to stay reflective, curious, keep control of the mental heavy lifting.
So we can use AI effectively, responsibly, as aids to our thinking.
But, and this is the key phrase, so we can still think clearly when we do.
That's the goal.
It leaves you with a thought, though, doesn't it? As these AI tools get even smarter, even more capable, How do we keep challenging ourselves? How do we, as lifelong learners, make sure we know the difference between AI helping us understand and truly, deeply knowing something ourselves?
That's the ongoing challenge. What new activities, what new ways of thinking will we need to invent to keep our own thinking muscles strong in the future?
Something to definitely keep pondering.